Good morning, Finders Keepians.
Everybody, we were whispering. I don't know if you caught any of that. Anyway, here we are. Hello.
Good morning.
Welcome. Yes. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Rachel.
And we're Finders Keepers. And I'm here with Rachel. Rachel is our technical wizard. She's all things computer. I'm learning. I'm her apprentice.
Sarah's my apprentice. I like it.
But Rachel's in charge. So she's going to show us today how to resize photos in Adobe InDesign. And the reason she's going to show this is because I don't know if you've ever been in this situation as a scrapbooker.
A lot.
Yeah, is that you have a certain layout, you want a certain size of photo, and I'm a great believer in grabbing the old paper trimmer and just trimming down my 4x6s to whatever. But sometimes you want the whole content of the photo,
right,
but you just want it to be in a smaller space,
right?
Like you need a 4x6 to be a 3x4 to really make your page layout work. Or a weird size, like you want all your pictures to be 2x2s.
Yeah, or what if you want them to be 6x6?
Yeah, or whatever. And so this is what you're going to do. We're going to be working in Adobe InDesign, which is a program you would buy.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's there's a suite of applications from Adobe called the you can get them through the Creative Cloud, and there's a subscription. It's a monthly fee, so depending on which applications or how many applications you want, it's a different amount. I pay about $30, a little less than $30. Because
we need everything, so we have access. That $30 a month gets us anything that they offer. So,
Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, and Dreamweaver. It's the design package.
And so we do that, but you can get just one thing. Like if you just wanted InDesign, which is basically a publishing.
It's a professional publishing application for magazines, books, posters. I mean, you can do anything with this, and we're not covering
Christmas letters.
Yes, it's great for Christmas letters and letters from the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah,
and
all kinds of fancy stuff. Yeah. So it's very handy. And I think you could get it for less than $30, like $10 a month.
I want to say it's like $10 if you do just the one application.
And they offer all kinds of videos like for support and stuff. And of
Adobe
course, there's
lynda.com. Lynda.com is one of our great resources. We'll link to that.
And that's another subscription, but you get classes on all this stuff, which is really great. And I've been taking them, and I've been benefiting from them.
They have some amazing instructors over there at lynda.com. Yes. So you definitely need to check that out.
So here we are, and we're going to go in, we're going to create a file, and we're going to resize our photos for a really weird page layout that we're doing.
I'm going to show you a couple different things, and it's just going to be weird. But
take it away, Rachel.
Ta-da!
And I'm going to ask questions.
Sarah's going to ask questions.
Yeah.
So I'm going to, InDesign is here and it's open already, and I'm just going to begin with creating a new document. Now, my printer that I'm going to print to is...
you just clicked on Create New. Is that what you did? Okay.
Yes, I clicked on Create New. And but everybody's printers are different. So one thing that I have to tell you is some of these things you'll hear me say dependent on your printer. So you're going to need to reference your printer manual for things like margins, and if your printer can do a full bleed or can print borderless, things like that. So
that full bleed means borderless. So the margins...
I'm going to get to that in just one second.
Okay.
So I'm going to, if you notice, they have a bunch of presets. You've got all kinds of different options that are here, but I'm going to just go with my own thing. I'm making my own thing. So I'm going to go over here into the preset portion of the site. I'm going to give this title, I'm just going to call this Photos. And as you can see, you're like 51p0 and 66p0 for the width and the height of the page. You're like, what the heck is that, Rachel?
I can tell you I am 51 and I do not p0. I p a lot. So
is that too much information?
Maybe. I'm sorry. Sorry, Finders Keepians. It crossed my mind.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I'm pretty sure a 66-year-old pees too. So
we all, everyone does.
Everybody pees.
There's books about that.
Yes,
I read them to my kids when they were young.
This 51p0 is referring to a unit of measurement called picas, which is a printing unit of measure. If you want to learn more about these things, again, lynda.com, go check it out.
Deke McClellan.
Go Deke, we love you. Deke is our guy over at lynda.com. He has been in the industry
since it was born.
I
think he had the very
30
first,
years.
He had the very first version of all these.
My very first, when I first started using Illustrator 88 was in 1988. And Deke, I think, actually wrote the first book on Illustrator. So he's pretty awesome. He does all kinds of, he's got classes on all Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, all the stuff. But what I'm going to do is switch to inches.
Okay.
Because most of us know inches. And our standard page size is going to be 8.5 width and 11 inches tall. You can change the orientation if you want it portrait or landscape.
What happens if you do that? Does it just switch those
It just switches those numbers.
Okay.
No big deal.
All right.
I'm going to leave it in a portrait orientation. I'm just going to start with one page here.
Can you add more later?
You can certainly add more later. You can, if you know that you're going to need 10 pages, go ahead and put 10 in there, and it just does it all for you. But you can add it later. This right here, this facing pages, make sure that this checkbox is off. It really doesn't matter, but facing pages are when you're doing spreads, like in a magazine, like when you open the magazine, you have 2 pages together. So you don't need that, and I find it's a bit distracting when I'm doing this kind of basic work. And then you're going to just ignore all this other stuff. I'm going to go down here now to the margin section. And the margin is basically how close to the edge your printer will print. And again, you need to reference your specific printer manual. You know, some of you have Epson and some of you have HP and some have Canon. So and they're all different. Some of them print all the way to the edge, which is called borderless, or you have a full bleed. Some don't. I am if you notice right here, I'm gonna click this little chain link, and what that's gonna do is it's gonna make sure that if I put any setting in any of these 4 boxes, it's gonna make them all the same. Because for me right now, I just want my borders to all be the same. And I'm actually gonna stick with this 1/4 inch because that is typically a good place to start. Most printers will at least let you print a 1/4 inch. Sometimes you can print an 1/8 inch. Sometimes you can, print more or less. It just depends, again, like reference your printer manual. This bleed and slug doesn't really have any bearing on what we're doing here today, so I'm just going to skip over that. It's a little more advanced. And then I'm just going to hit the create button. And ta-da! Now you have an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and you can also see here too, I have my ruler showing. If you don't have the ruler showing, you can go up here under view and extras. No. Here it is, right here, hide rulers. Or you can use the keyboard shortcut Command R. So if I do Command R on my keyboard, the rulers go away. Command R brings them back again. But I command you rulers to be gone or to be there. And you can see here that it's the top left starts at 0 on both of the rulers. So if I put my cursor here, and then it goes to 8.5 over on this side and 11 down on the bottom.
And that makes sense.
And then these pink and purple lines here, these are your those are margins that we set up, and that's a 1/4 inch margin all the way around on all 4 sides. So that makes it really easy. Don't put anything in that area, basically. Let's go with that. Or
it might not print.
It might not print.
I mean, the worst thing is it wouldn't print.
Right.
You're not going to break Adobe. You're not going to break your printer.
You're not going to break the computer.
No, it just won't print.
It won't print. This gray area is your pasteboard, and if I zoom out, and you can do that through view zoom out or the command minus, and if I do command minus a couple times, you can see that this pasteboard area, this gray area, you can actually just have other pictures sitting on there, just sort of sitting there waiting.
It's like a desktop.
It's like a desktop.
They just won't print.
Right. They're not going to print. Exactly. Yeah. The only thing that's going to print is this white area, whatever you have in this white area. Okay. So again, this is a professional application. So there's a lot of stuff. Don't let all of this stuff along the top and all this stuff along the side and all this stuff on the, don't let that freak you out. Okay. We're not going to be using all of that for this. The main thing you want to do is we're going to go down the side here to this left-hand tool box, and we're going to use the rectangle frame tool. And you see it has that little F in parentheses when you mouse over it. The F is just a keyboard shortcut that you can use to get to it. As you can see right now, this is where I am. I'm in the selection tool. If I hit the F key on my keyboard, and if you look down here, you're going to see that that's going to become highlighted and my cursor is changing.
Well, what do you know?
Look at that.
Yep.
If I hit the V key, which was this keyboard shortcut up here, and if you watch the cursor, and if I hit the V key, that becomes highlighted and this cursor turns into an arrow. Okay, so that's how you can kind of keep track of what you're doing. If for some reason all of a sudden you go to do something and you were typing on your keyboard and the cursor is just some weird something, it's probably because you typed in something and you weren't selecting text, which is no big deal, but just come back over here and click on that because that's what we need for today. And all you're going to do to make a box, let me backtrack for a second. In InDesign, everything goes in a box. Everything. Okay. Your pictures go in a box. Your text goes in a box.
So you have to make a box before you do anything.
Correct. You have to have a box to put whatever in. Now you can make that box have lines or be filled with color or be filled with text or be filled with an image.
You can make a box that's the whole size of the page.
That's can.
One box.
You can. And then you can fill that box with a picture and your whole picture is going to print on that whole page. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Awesome sauce. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so when you have this little crosshair cursor, I'm going to use my mouse and I'm going to click and drag. And as you can see, there's a little gray box there to the right that is showing me width and height measurements. It's also showing up in the top left corner if you notice that those numbers are changing as I'm moving it around too. So you can attempt to make this 6 inches by 4 inches.
It's hard to get it exact.
It's hard to get it exact. So I'm just going to let go of my cursor and I'm going to let it be like this. So now I have a box with a big X in it, and that's back from the printing days when you would do markups. They would, when they were putting the places in for the photos, that was to indicate there was a photo going to go there. What I'm going to do is go up here in the top margin here, and all the stuff up here are the modifiers and things you can do to this box. And as you can see, if I click on different tools, some of the items up here will change. If I select different tools have different things that they'll do, different ways they interact with stuff. I'm just clicking through. You can see now I'm on the text, the type tool, so now you can have font attributes. And then I'm going to do the lines, so you can do line width attributes and things like that. So I'm going to click back to my selection tool and select my box because I want to make my box exactly 6 by 4, right? So I'm going to go back up here in the width and the height. Again, remember the little chain when we were doing the margins?
I do.
This is the same kind of thing. If I click this off, then it says constrain proportions for width and height. So if I change one thing. Chain. Okay. So it's going to either, when it's a complete link, that means it's going to constrain the proportions. And if it's a broken link, then it's not. Now, if I have it constrained and I change this to 6, it's going to automatically change this proportionately. So if I type in 6 and hit the tab key or enter, then see now this is no longer 4. It's the 3/9 because it's changing it proportionally because this link is turned on. I don't want it to change proportionally, so I'm going to make it not link, right? So now if I put in the 4 here and hit enter, it now is, it's changed it, but it's not changed it proportionally. It's allowed me to make it whatever I want it to be. I'm just going to click and drag this box up here. Actually, no, I'm going to put it in the middle of the page because we're going to go ahead and put an image in there. Now, I'm using the selection tool. Now, I want to put a picture in it, but I have to select the box because we have to have a box to put the picture in.
Okay.
Right? So now I'm going to go up into the file and do File Place or Command D if you want to use the shortcuts.
Because you're placing something in the box.
I'm placing something in the box on the document. So I have this photo here of me and my girls from 4th of July. And I'm going to put it in there. And aren't we cute?
Oh, look at them. They're a family.
But my head's cut off.
Oh, no, Rach.
My head's cut off. I don't want to have my head cut off.
That's not the way the photo is?
That's not the way the photo is. There's more to this photo. So there's a couple of options when you get to this point. This box is the box, right? And see how when I mouse over, I get this little indicator here?
The little circle.
Little circle. If I click on that, now look, I have this brown.
Oh, that's the real edge.
That's the actual edge of the photo. So I can either click and drag to move the photo down.
Oh, you just have to click inside that circle?
Just click inside. You don't even have to click inside the circle as long as that brown box is there.
Okay.
Because like if I move it up here, So you can see the blue box is our 4x6. Our brown box is our actual photo. And it doesn't have to be, on that little circle. It can be. So I can do that, and that's not a bad photo.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to click and drag and move this up here.
Wait a minute, how did you get it to stop doing that so you could click and drag it?
When you click off of it, and only the blue box is there.
Because then the brown box doesn't show.
The brown box doesn't show. Okay. But if you wanted to move this box and you clicked on this to move it,
it would do that.
It would do that. Okay, and I'm just going to undo that. So you want to make sure that you click off of it if the brown box is there. And if you want to move it, don't click in that where that little circle is, because that's going to select your box. Another way to get the same thing as clicking on that circle is if you double click. So I just double clicked on it and it also gave me that. I'm going to click off of that. I am going to select my photo now though, and I'm going to copy it, which you can get under edit, cut, and we're going to copy and paste here essentially. So Command C, Command V, and I'm going to paste. So now I have a duplicate, right? So I just want you guys to see this one. I didn't resize it at all, right? So if you click on this and you look, all it is that's all I did was move it down, right? Excuse me. But what if I wanted to get more of the scenery, and like our legs are cut off here, and I kind of wanted to resize this? To do that, you can, this is the horizontal and vertical sizing, and as you can see, it's 100%. And again, here's another little chain. And when the chain is locked, what does that mean, Sarah?
When the chain is locked, it will do things proportionally.
Correct. And if it's unlocked, it will not. So for instance, if I have it unlocked and I say 50% there and press enter.
Oh no.
Whoops. That's not what I want, right? That's not at all what I want.
Stills your family
Although
on drugs.
We lost a lot of weight there somehow. Yeah. I can then come back up here and I can change this to 50 and hit enter. And then now it's still, both 50% for both ways. That's real tiny. That's not really what we want.
Right.
So I'm going to put it back up to 100 and then show you guys another way. If I have this locked, then that means it's going to do it proportionally. So if I do, I don't know, I'm just guessing here. I'm going to pick 80 and then I'm going to hit enter and see they both change to 80 together, right? And so that's a little bit better in my box. It's still, Ashley's leg's getting cut off and Beth's is getting cut off. But now you can see, this was 100% and this is 80%. We could maybe, I'm seeing that the top and the bottom is exactly the same here. Do you guys see that? That it's actually 4 inches tall. So we might, in order to retain the properties, we may have to just leave it, and that's probably as small as we could go to be able to keep it a 4x6. But so there you can see the two different sizes of how to do that. Okay,
Great. I get that.
Okay, so I'm going to save this document. I'm just going to save it on my desktop. You do want to save often, and Command S or under File Save. Right now it's grayed out because I just saved it. So that's something that's really important to remember also. So now I'm going to show you though, what if you wanted to do a 3x4?
Okay.
Okay, so this is just your basic 4x6. I'm going to keep this page, but if you go up here onto this right hand column, these are kind of your global settings. So if I click on this, you can see that I have one page here, and it's cute. It gives you a little thumbnail of what's on your page. So that's a nice visual if you've got a whole bunch of pages and you're scrolling through. I'm going to click on this little link here, and I'm going to say Insert Pages, and I'm going to insert, I don't know, let's say 4 pages. And I can tell them before or after the page, at the beginning of the document, at the end of the document. When you start having a bunch of pages, you can do more stuff with that. And so look, now there's 4 more pages here. So we have a total of 5 pages. And I'm just moving that in a little bit by dragging this. You can do it horizontal or vertical. And so I'm moving that in a little bit. I'm going to go to page 2. And so now you can see if you double click on the page, it takes you to that page. So now this blue page is highlighted, and now this is page 2. There's nothing on page 2 yet. So we're going to go back over here again to the rectangle frame tool. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to draw just a fast rectangle. Then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to actually set it exactly what I want to be 4 by 3. Actually, let's do it 3 by 4 so that it's vertical. And then I'm going to go back to my selection tool and move that up there. Again, you can copy and paste and then click and drag. So when you have different different sizes, obviously you can get more pictures on a page. So I'm just pasting over and over again. Also, if you see all these little green lines that are showing up, those are great. Those are called smart guides, and those are really great for aligning things and making things kind of match. So I'm going to select all of my photos by choosing, just clicking and dragging, and so now you see they all have little handles, and I'm going to just put it in the center of the page just so that you can see it a little better. Again, I'm going to place a document, place an image, so I'm going to just do Command D, and then I'm going to go, let's see if we can find a vertical photo over here. I have a lot of photos. There aren't any in there. There we go. Let's see if we have something else, maybe from July 4th. Let's see. Manicure, pedicure. Here's my friend's daughter. So again, now this image, it either needs to be resized or moved around. So I'm going to click. You can see this one has a nice big brown frame, so we can move that around. This is my goddaughter Natalie. She's being silly and making a sly little look. So all I did on that one was click in the center to show the big brown area and then resizing it. So then I can do that again, Command D, to place the document. Let's find another one. Let's see. Here's one of Beth and Sophia. Again, way too big, so we're going to resize this one. So we're going to click on the little circle in the center or double click, and then we're going to change this to 50% and hit enter. And it did it automatically, and so then we have to, oh, it was already shrunk down. That's why. So let's do 10%. Now, I did 10%, and you're like, where'd the picture go? Do you guys see this brown frame up here? It moved it way up there. And now it's gone. So you have to be very careful about where...
Oh, that picture's enormous.
It is. It's a large picture. And if you click right on that line, you can bring it back down here. There we go. So 10's a little too small because, as you can see, we have some extra white space here, right? So we're going to make it 15 and see how that does. I think that's pretty good. Get them both in there. All right. So again, depending on the quality of your pictures too, if they're higher resolution, they're going to look ginormous. So I'm going to do Command D one more time on this one, but I'm going to try to find like actually that bus picture would work really well. This is when my kids went to camp one year. And I'm going to place that in there. Well, but you're like, Rachel, you can't see any of the bus. I mean, you just said that was a good bus picture. And so what we want to do here is we want to rotate it within that that box.
Oh, so it becomes landscape?
So it becomes landscape. And so right up here is your rotate. And so I'm going to do 90 degrees. And again, it rotated along an axis that unfortunately made it go the wrong way. And it's still big, so we're going to take that down to 10%. And we're going to do that. And so it automatically adjusted the 10% on both sides, both degrees. Sarah, words.
But the width and the height.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Oh, well, words are not working.
Okay.
So now I have a good shot of that bus, and that's like a really bright, colorful bus. So again, when you click on this picture up here, You remember you have to have the brown thing because you have to be affecting what's in
the box.
If you don't, if you just click on the blue, if you just click on the box and see how this says 0, and you're like, but wait, we rotated it. Well, that's because if we change it to 90 degrees here, it thinks you want to rotate that whole box. Okay, so I'm just going to undo that and put that picture back. And again, we'll do another one. Let's see if we can find another one with a couple of their friends. That's a cute one. Again, they're not going to all fit this way, so I'm going to select it so it's the big brown thing. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, hit enter, and then I'm going to also move that down, and then it's still too big, so I'm going to change that to 10%, and then now I can center them in here. So now there's I'm going to go ahead and save. And so there you have a couple of portraits and a couple of landscape. So those are like your basic, I mean, it's the same thing no matter what size box you want. You want to draw your box, place your image, size or crop your image, rotate your image, always making sure that you have the brown thing selected and not, something else. You've seen me putting the same thing, same sizes on every page, right? You don't have to do that. So let's say I want this to be 2 by 2, right? And then I'm going to copy and paste, and I want this one to be 3 by 4. And then I want another one. I'm going to move this up here, and then I'm going to paste again, and then I'm going to move this down and make this one 6 by 4. No, we'll do 4 by 6. Right? Okay. So I wanted you to see that you don't have to just, I'm double clicking on the page to go back here, and you can see, these were the 4 by 6 pages, and these are the 3 by 4 pictures, rather, not pages. You can do a bunch of different sizes on one page, and that's one way too that you can really make the best use of, when you're doing these
so you don't
pages.
Waste paper.
So you're not wasting paper.
Yeah, nice.
Because I could, like for instance, take this 2 by 2. I select it and I'm going to copy it. I could go back over here possibly to this page, select all of my images and move them up to the corner. As you notice, I put a little space in between. You don't have to.
Just for trimming.
For trimming.
Yeah.
But if I paste that 2 by 2, it just pastes it in the middle. But look, I could fit several 2 by 2s on this page also. If I just keep pasting, Command V or Edit Paste. So I could fit those there. You can't really fit it here, but if you moved these two over, you could. Like if you didn't leave any white space. So when you're thinking about what images and what size you want, think about how you can, better use the space, and so that you're not wasting. Because then you could. Here's another keyboard shortcut too. If you use the Option key and you see how the cursor changed to 2 little arrows there, can you guys see that? If you click and drag and hold down the Shift key, it'll duplicate that, and you can just keep doing that over and over. And Option, Shift, the puppies say hello.
Yes.
And
Tally.
Now we can put a whole bunch of little 2 by 2 pictures. If I place and let's find something cute that could be a square-ish kind of. We already did that one of Natalie. So again, way too big. Click on the circle. Now we have the big brown line. I'm going to make that 10% and bring it back over. Maybe even 5%, because this apparently was a ginormous photo. Maybe 8%. And then we can click and drag. And so now we have a little 2 by 2 of the girls laughing.
Well, that's super easy, Rach.
It is. It's super easy. It's super fun. It gives you a lot of options. And again, just to recap, you draw your box because everything needs to go in a box.
Everything goes in a box.
Yes. When you have your box, you can specify the width and the height up here. You can place images. It doesn't have to be the same size. You can place, resize, rotate. You can even, another fun thing you can do is if I select this image and select the inside, this option right here is fun. This is the opacity. So if you wanted that to be like really lightened, so then you can get,
nice.
So if you wanted it to look like you had a vellum overlay on a photo.
Or you could layer photos with a photo in the back.
Correct. So like you could do that, and then we could bring this down here and resize this to be, I want it to be locked though, and I'm going to resize it to be 1 inch. And then resize this to be, that's her sister. So maybe we're going to do that. And we're just going to have it, the two sisters in this picture. So you can do things like that.
All right.
So there you go, guys.
Very nice, Rachel. Thank you so much for showing us this.
I hope that you enjoy it. If you have any questions, as always, please comment and let us know. We get back to them as quickly as we can. And it's a really powerful program. And if you do a little bit of thinking ahead of time on what kind of sizes you want your photos to be, you can save your ink, save your paper, and get the most out of it.
And sometimes I don't do that. I wanted to also say that sometimes it's nice to have options.
Yes.
And so I'll print up a photo as a 4x6, a 3x4, and a 2x2 or whatever, just so that I have options because I kind of scrapbook on the fly,
Sarah just goes for it,
and I make a huge mess. But I like to have lots of photos ready and have to wait. So that's me.
And that's totally fine too.
Yeah. So you can still use these same techniques to do that.
Also, exactly. Because not everybody has an adapter on their printer or that can print 4x6s just out of the chute. So it's nice to be able to have that option.
All right.
So thanks for joining us, you guys. If you like this, we'd like to do more. If you have suggestions of anything you'd like to see with Illustrator or InDesign or Photoshop, any techniques,
leave them in the comments below,
and we'll work on those and get those out for you.
Great. Thanks for stopping by the studio.
Bye.
Bye.